This is Viewpoint, a podcast by Cochrane Real Estate.
Welcome to Viewpoint, the podcast by Cochrane Real Estate. I'm Corey Duchateau, and I'm here with Harriet Murray, the broker and owner of Cochrane Real Estate. Today we're going to cover the end of year statistics from 2025 and give our viewers a market update on the real estate market in Puerto Vallarta and the surrounding areas.
What I wanted to do today is sort of frame what the report says, and we have written it to be able to look at it at your leisure, and if you want to study it in detail. I want to just keep with the big subjects to brief you with before you read it. We want to know in context where we are and how our market works to really understand it. It is not at all like the US or Canada, or actually more like many other places in the world because of the customs and the systems on how we buy and sell. But it's particularly important to know for this report that this is coming from a corridor in Mexico on the west coast, where the beautiful beaches and the water itself and the sea life have been attracting many tourists for many years. And now we have a market of real estate specific to this corridor for two reasons. We're using a combination of American, Canadian, and Mexican buyers and sellers. And we have a product that we have to sell in a special area like this in the form of a trust. So we are unique, and so we are not another part of Mexico at this moment to compare anything to. We are popular, we could say touristic, but we also have people that want to move here and live permanently. So today we're going to talk about what happened to 225. And that was a good year, and people have asked me what happened. Is it a bad year or a good year? It was a good year. We know, we can see with our statistics, and I'll tell you about that, but we were slower in the last quarter. People were busy, and the government shut down, and we don't have processing of sales. We did a lot in the 3 quarters we had. In fact, for the full year, we are 25% higher in sales volume and dollars earned than the prior year. So it was a good year. One can think, why was the 4th quarter bad? And the real reason can be that we slowed down and we do not have governments open and processing. So we would look to have a very good 1st quarter for 2026. But we had very good numbers, and it's great to see this because we're doing something right. So we have more extensive inventory, but I just chose 3 things: land, condominiums, and houses to report on. And in this report you will see it is the data that comes from the Flex MLS, which is a true MLS system gathering data available and owned by our 3 AMPI chapters, Compostela, Nayarit, and Jalisco. So we cannot talk about any other sales, and we know that there are other private sales, but we can tell you what we have the day that we can report it, and we find it to be true and accurate, but we are disclosing to you it is our report. Condominiums are and have been the engine that drive the train here, and they're still popular, and we still have construction. That's because we still seem to have the need, but it's important to understand in this country, mainly developers do not borrow money and pay interest. The buyer pays as they go along with the construction for a finished product in about 28 months. So that takes care of how we get the cash. There are very few mortgages. There are none right now for pre-construction unless it's a full developer with many capabilities. So it's important to understand if you want a mortgage, we need to talk about it, and we have to go further and get the proper fit. And right now it will be difficult in some cases if you do not have any income that you're earning in Mexico, for example. So buyer beware. Mainly we need purchasers with cash, so that means you can maybe also purchase something And then as time changes, you sell it and then you can buy up. But we still are beloved by many people coming. We had a full art walk last night. So the condominiums for this year are still the most prominent and most number of properties sold. But we still, with that, and the homes are coming back some, and we have seen increases from last year on the number sold and the prices. And the prices seem to be fair, meaning that when you either have a choice of a condominium or a home, it'd be a small home, but you could look for and find, in some cases, a condominium for $500,000 and a house would be maybe $100,000 or $150,000 more. This is a broad statement, but it means you would look in many of our areas. We have many communities. We have great many communities that we should find something you like, but we need you to do it, the location to be the most important thing first, because you're not going to want to buy a home in an area you don't like, but you love the home. That's backwards. Let's do it this other way. So the condominiums have been outstanding, and we have marked for you areas that you can see that were particularly active. We have great growth in La Cruz and that shoreline past Bucerías. So again, that's Nayarit, and we share with that. There are bigger areas expanding in Nayarit and Puerto Vallarta. They have a bigger marina than we do here in Vallarta. And we always have the famous and popular Zona Romantica on the south side of the Rio Quali. And town itself is still charming enough to be very much in the top list of the most money earned also and numbers sold. So these statistics are to help you understand our market. They're not interest rates sensitive and they're not mortgage bound. And so this is what people are spending, either in increments or using cash if they want to make that investment. And we're doing well, and we hope that you will continue to be interested in this corridor of Western Mexico where the two of our states reside. We are particularly designed to be working with foreigners to help them acclimate and be happy in a beautiful environment. We had a very successful 225. If you want to know what's going to happen, it's hard to make predictions, and I don't think I would be unusual to say that because we have a lot going on in our country today and North America and the world. So I would think that with what we continue to show that we improve each year, and there's no reason for me to think otherwise at this point. What's important to know is Vallarta is working on infrastructure as the increasing demand of the new units requires. And we still have good weather. We still have very kind and nice people. And we're increasing our fiestas, and we can furnish many ways that you can enjoy going to surrounding areas and looking at the 500-year-old villages that are part of the history here. And we think we are a bargain, so please look at the statistics, and if you like or have questions, I would be happy to get your feedback.
Thank you, Harriet, for this information, and we'd like to say to our audience, please leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you have specific questions about the real estate market in Vallarta, Nayarit area, and go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel to be on our list for hearing more about real estate in Puerto Vallarta.
This was Viewpoint, a podcast from Cochrane Real Estate.